Hi everybody, I am Peter Travers. This is Popcorn, where I tell you what's happening at the movies. And there's a movie now called David Crosby, Remember My Name. Like that was ever an issue? Yeah, no, really.
Only for me.
I don't think that is. The whole power behind this movie is my friend Cameron Crowe here, who basically isn't the director, but he is the producer. And he did, you see the back of his head in this movie a lot, you know, asking this guy questions. And I want to really find out the abuse that you were handed by him to do. Really, it had to have happened. We see a little of it, but really there had to have been more. And the man himself, David Crosby. We're thrilled to have you here.
Thank you.
This is really great.
Believe me, we're both honored to be here, man. We wanted to
Well,
talk.
all that honor has to now disappear. It's,
Okay,
I
now
want
let's
to know,
get down to the
who
business.
was the biggest pain in the ass in the making of this movie?
Me. There's
Really,
no question.
From the beginning?
I am probably, I have a PhD in pain in the ass, I think.
Well, you certainly give yourself one, you know,
Yeah,
for the whole
frequently.
movie.
No,
Yeah.
I did give them some guff, because that's kind of my nature. I'm a little bit feisty, but I don't think anybody really was a pain in the ass in making the film. AJ was persistent. He's a really determined guy, and he really will get it done. He's very determined to get it done. That's one of the things we like most about him.
Well, see, when you say that, he's going to get it done. What's happening? You're there and you're not giving him what they want?
Oh, no, I've given him everything the whole time. I'm seeing the qualities that made it actually happen. He's known me since he's 15. He knows where.
That's old for Cameron.
He was there. It is, yeah.
He's already been in the business for
5 years, probably
yeah.
at that point. But
Yeah.
so he knew up front. What he brought to this is A, he's a consummate filmmaker, and B, he knew me, left, right, and center. He knows where all the bones are buried. He was in the room. He was in the dressing room when we had that argument. Whatever went on, he was there. Okay, so the two of them and I had what you call a unity of purpose. We completely agreed about the level that we wanted to approach the thing, which is rare in any project, music or film. We did agree completely. We wanted to not do a shine job. We didn't want to just say, "Oh, isn't he cute?" Because I'm not. I'm not cute.
Well, there are some people that might go in innocently to this movie thinking that you are.
Well, God bless them.
They
They
are
got a surprise
disabused
coming.
of that when it's...
We didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
We wanted to show you the truth about a human being as closely as we possibly could, without any reservations on it at all. No, oh, we'll just cover that up. We all felt like that.
Yeah.
There was unanimity, just complete. We all agreed at the level, because we didn't want to do the kind of shine job that most of the documentaries are.
Well, even if it was just you going over the highlights of your career, that would still be some movie. The fact is, there's no buttering anybody's toast.
At all.
Yeah.
I was thinking, if this was me and it was Remember My Name, I'd think, do we have to have that thing?
I had a couple of those
moments.
Did you notice he used my phrase? Butter my toast.
He's in, man.
He's the
he gets
first
you.
guy I've heard to use.
He
I thought that
understands.
up.
That was you?
That was me. I thought of
Please
butter my
issue
toast.
a
See how
check
easy
to
it
Mr.
is?
Crosby.
Just turn on the camera.
You know, I have
There you
no... I have no right to do that.
No,
All right.
I'm really thrilled to hear you use my phrase, because I think that's a great way to say he didn't tell me what he thought I wanted to hear. He wasn't, polishing my apple. Buttering my toast is a good phrase for it.
Does that make him angrier if somebody is trying to do that
Yeah, I
than
don't
it
like it
would
at all.
if
Interesting.
they were saying
Maybe.
Don't generally like it. I like it if you talk to me straight.
Yeah.
Which is one of the things that we have, is he, like I said, he was there, he knows, and he doesn't pull his punches at all. Neither does AJ, and that degree of honesty made me fully confident about doing
Well,
what
how
I'm doing.
do the two of you get together on this particular project? Because he's doing a million
I ran
things.
into A.J. Eaton and David, and
Just run into them as you
well,
will.
it was at J.J. Abrams' office because we were doing our hit Showtime series Roadies, and
Very good.
we ran into I ran into David and our friend Jill Mazursky and AJ, and they were talking about doing a documentary. And immediately, they were like, "Well, come on board with us." And I'm like, "I can't. And we're doing this thing and everything." And I saw in David's eyes that he was ready to talk. Like he wanted to go there in this film. And I said, first of all, as a fan, when I watch this thing, I don't want to see a lot of talking heads. Forgive me, but you don't need a lot of people. Just put the camera on him, and you don't get him. Mic him really warmly. Have him look pretty much into the camera and cut out all middlemen. Mm-hmm. David tells you about his life, the way he would if you knew him for a while and it was a late night and you just asked him all the questions you wanted to ask him. And so I said, well, I'll just do the first interview and have it, enjoy it. He's the best interview ever. And I just kept interviewing him until I had to be in the show with him. And that was a great day.
But when was the first time that you interviewed him? It had to be
74. I got an assignment from Crawdaddy magazine to write about Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young, and they were opening their big tour, and I'd been dreaming of interviewing David as a young journalist. And I interviewed him at our friend Joel Bernstein's house, which was also Graham Nash, lived next door, and he just was so gracious, and I had so many questions, and he sat for every one of them. I'm 15, and he's saying, what else do you want to know? What else do you want to know?
He was brilliant.
I was grieving over my girlfriend's death there. I'm 15 going, David Crosby is telling me the most intensely personal. He trusts me. Mm-hmm. And I just always interviewed him every possible chance since, and up until now.
That's all he asked of me, was that I be honest.
But taking him to Laurel Canyon, he didn't want to go.
No, I didn't want to go.
It was stupid. Please, come on.
I still think it was
You're not
stupid.
going to do that, are you?
It wound up really well.
Meanwhile, everybody's talking about Laurel Canyon. And we had to go to Laurel Canyon. He's like, "Oh, you're not going to make me stand on the steps of the country store."
Oh, yeah, nothing happened there.
Glenn Fry
This is
saw
so
you standing
corny.
there and started the Eagles. My God, you have to do it. Oh, please. And this is what we put in the film when he, those moments where he says things like, "There's no cinematic value in this whatsoever," and he turns his back on the camera. It's like,
so
he
you
walks
not only,
away.
You
like
not
it.
only have a
Gave me
subject,
such
you
that
your own
day.
critic.
Yes, he was.
Well, I'm a
He
grump.
came in there. Yeah,
Sometimes I
and
can
did
be a
this.
grump, and he totally caught me being a grump. Absolutely.
Then we get him to go in the Laurel Canyon Country Store, which is really the citadel of that whole period as it exists now. See, this is what you get.
He just
And
mocks it
he mocks it. He
constantly.
mocks
Yes,
it.
yeah.
So he walks in, and and he's looking kind of poetic, and I go, "Cross, what did this place represent to you?" And he goes, "You should see it. It's in the movie." He goes, "What did it represent? It's the place where we came to get the groceries." Jesus! And he walks off the camera. And we're
Yeah,
like,
it has no other significance
what's
at
the
all.
deal here?
Well,
He
you know,
harasses the poor person behind the counter, but then he turns and he starts seeing these pictures, including the Doors, which he has a little thing to say about the Doors. But Peter, he goes outside and sits at the table and says the most intimate stuff of the entire interview series.
But that's because you asked me those questions.
Thank goodness.
You're just proud of it because you managed to do it at the store.
I am.
Yeah.
That's right, because you could have asked it somewhere. It wouldn't have been picturesque.
Yeah, it
wouldn't have been a good shot at all. So it had to get asked in the right place
I guess so.
for you to respond.
You trying to
it
tell
that
me
way.
he knows what he's doing?
I am saying that.
Dang it.
But you can learn the hard
it-
way because, you see, he has kind of a baby face, and you kind of trust him
Less lately.
immediately, and that could really lead you up the wrong road. But, it didn't. Because, well, can we show a little clip? There's a clip of you. Because what I love when you get into what you're doing, whether you're excited by somebody or not excited by whoever that is, there's something in you that gets kind of possessed by what it is. And here in this clip that we have, you're talking about Coltrane.
Wow, fantastic.
I look pretty silly, but it's funny.
I don't think you look silly. You look excited by
I was.
what you're talking about.
We
And you
didn't
bring
know how
it
to
back to
start
life.
the movie. We didn't know how to start the movie. And we just decided one day that we were going to start at 90 miles an hour with this story.
I think it's great. All right, well, let's take a little peek at this. And then,
I ducked in the men's room. And I got my head against this puke green tile. I can still remember the color of the tile. And I'm like, okay, it's going to be all right now. Going to just get it together now. Going to be okay. Bam! Somebody kicks the door open. Bam! It's Train. He's kicked the door open because he's playing at the most intense level you could ever imagine in your life. He never stopped soloing. He's still soloing, and he's up where it's really hitting the 1,000 mark, you know? He's like burning. I never heard anybody be more intense with music than that in my life. In that little bathroom, little tile bathroom.
See?
See,
It's
that's
brought
a guy.
to life.
Yeah, that's a guy who loves music.
Well,
Oh,
it
I
is.
do love music, yeah.
Well, I hope so.
It was-
Because you keep doing it.
Well, what you see there is the effect that John Coltrane, man, is one of the greatest musicians of our times, right? And he had at that time his quintessential band, unbelievably fine. 2 bass players, probably one of the greatest keyboard players who's ever lived, McCoy Tyner, and just stunningly good, right? And the effect that they had on me was like that. I was very high, I'll admit, but they were the consummate jazz band. They were unbelievably good. And I was wide open to it. I walked in wide open. And they just slayed me. They just, I was that impressed. And yes, it went down like that. He did walk into the bathroom, and he absolutely scared me to death. I didn't know what I completely lost my mind for a minute there. My brain ran out in the puddle on the floor. You know.
Did you ever get to meet him?
Huh?
Did you ever get to meet him?
No, never did. Wish I had. I met Miles,
Yeah.
but
Well, you did kind of meet Coltrane.
I did in that bathroom for that moment.
That
You
was
shared
there.
a moment.
The tile, the way it's described,
See.
that's everything. That's like the short story writing as well as it's a movie, and it's everything else that's happening. That you don't see very often. A lot of talking head movies, you know, and then I wrote this, and then basically
You
I
know
was
why
in
they
the
do the
Birds.
talking heads? Man, they do the talking heads thing so they can use everybody's name in the advertising.
I
It's a
guess.
joke. It's bull. Come on.
But we see that it affected you in a way, as if
Oh,
you
yeah.
absorbed what it was that you saw and experienced, and that's everything. That's learning. That's anything, no matter how long you've been doing this.
I think it's a pretty
You've gotta
amazing thing
keep
to
learning.
catch on film.
Yeah, it really is.
This is the gift that he can tell a story like that, and we take a little time to stay with him and not cut to somebody else, and you see his thought process. We'll talk about you like you're not here, and
Yeah.
and he listens and
do it.
feels the story that he's just told you. So if you keep the camera on him, and we end the movie on a moment like this, he's thinking about what he just said, and going back
Can be
there because he
dangerous.
doesn't dwell in the past that much. And this is kind of a thing where we got him to actually go back there and think about all this again, and you see him reliving.
Did you resist any of it? Because you're very, very frank about everything that went on in that, alienating basically every musician you worked with. That happened.
If I was gonna resist it, I would have resisted it in front. When I told AJ and Cameron, I'm committed to this.
Mm-hmm.
At that point, in my heart, I committed myself to being completely honest and drawing no lines anywhere. Because if they were willing to take their time and give it to me, I'm not going to give them less than 100%. And I think it worked. You know, I think we were lucky as hell. But I think the result on film is really unusual to see on film. You don't normally see that degree of reality.
There has to be a degree of pain in remembering.
There
something
is.
like this.
It's hard to be naked in public.
Yeah.
It is. You know, especially if you're not real good looking.
But when you talk about what's painful, and in a lot of not just rock documentaries, but any kind of story of somebody that does it, it becomes glamorous.
Yeah.
And with you, it's not. You know, the years in jail, the drugs, the things that almost kill you. You say, I screwed up. You know, this is.
How could you read it any other way? You know, I wasted years of time.
Mm-hmm.
Time is the final currency, man. It's what you have here. is a little bit of time. And for me to waste the amount of time that I wasted just getting smashed, yeah, I got to be able to look at that and say, no, that was a total mistake. I was put here to make music. That's obvious.
But the myth is that that period where, you know, you're carried away by whatever drug you happen to favor at that moment, that's when you do your best work.
No.
That's what people believe.
No, that's not true. Drugs, hard drugs, absolutely get in the way of the creative process. Do not help at all. And the more hard drugs I did, the less I wrote. Until I stopped writing completely. Then I stopped the drugs by going in prison, woke up, and started writing again. Now I can only draw one conclusion from that, right? The drugs were inhibiting, because the more drugs I did, the less I wrote. The drug use curve went up like this, the writing curve went right down at the same rate. I stopped writing, I stopped doing drugs, writing comes right back up. What can you draw from that? That the drugs were hurting the writing, they were getting in the way of the writing, and that they do get in the way of the writing, and that they don't help it at all. They didn't help at all. Pot helps. Psychedelics probably helped. Hard drugs, absolutely not. They're destroyers of creativity and of music and of art in every way. They do nothing good at all.
What was the moment that really hit for you where you said, I'm not doing this anymore?
I had fled the law. I was already a fugitive. I failed to show up. And I'd fled, and I'd gone back to my touchstone, the boat. Really loved that boat. And I was laying on the deck of that boat, and I was thinking, and I was straight, you know, because I didn't have any money, and I had to look at everything. And I finally just gave up. You know, if you go to AA meetings, they'll tell you that you have a moment of clarity. That's what they call it. And there is a moment, and you do surrender. And I went and I surrendered.
And in that surrender, you were able to say to yourself, okay, no more. Although being in jail, it's kind of helping you in therapy.
Made it possible.
Yeah.
They didn't help me at all, but they absolutely made it where there was no drugs, and I had to sober up. And so I woke up in a jail cell in Texas, in prison, in a serious, honest-to-God, real, actual walls, machine guns, barbed wire prison. And you know the truth? If I had to choose between going back to being a junkie or going back and spending another year in prison, I'd go back to prison. Junkie is a prison you carry around with you. You don't get out. Junkie only ends one of four ways. You die, you go crazy, you go to jail, or you quit. There's only those four possibilities.
Reverse order. Yeah, right, that was it.
Yeah.
Finally, the dying would be ending everything.
Yeah. Well, I was a very good candidate for that. Very close. Very close.
I had read something you had said about running into David at a period where it was a low point for him.
Yeah.
What was that circumstance?
He was playing a benefit with Ann and Nancy Wilson at the Santa Monica High School, right? And it's a great thing that they did every year where they played with the high school musicians. And Cross played a set that was fantastic with high school musicians. And I was so anxious to see him. I hadn't seen him in a while. And I went backstage after. He was depleted, wasn't there, was not present. He'd given everything in this performance, barely recognized me. It kind of tore my heart out because the last thing he said to me was, "Safe travels, my friend." And I watched him walk away. And I thought what various other people have thought along the path of Cross's life. That's the last time I'm going to see him. I won't see him again. And as he turns that corner, that's the last image I'm going to ever have of this guy that's meant so much to me. Next time I saw him, he was the Energizer Bunny. He was back. And I've never seen that kind of turnaround. And that
What was
was something.
happening? What was happening for him?
I think part of it, if I may answer for you for a moment, because this was a turning point in the film, was his marriage. He's got one of the greatest love stories in his life with his wife Jan, and those two together are a powerhouse. And I think that's how you turn that stuff around.
It's one of the main parts. I did have to go through the pain of quitting, and I did have to get locked up to do it. I tried, I think, 5 times in treatment, and failed. So I did have to do time in prison to do it, but I don't think I'd be alive without Jandy. Jan is my best friend, and
that comes across.
And we've been together 42 years. That doesn't happen by accident. You got to really work at it, and you got to really care about the other person.
So I'm thinking she can call you on your when she has to.
Absolutely does all the time.
Didn't want to do an interview for us, and then one day,
She's always you. She's always you. She does trust you, man. She doesn't trust most people, and she does trust you.
It blew our mind every moment in the editing room when we had her footage.
She's
up.
a good soul, and you can see it.
You could see it. You could definitely. Did she make your hat?
She did make this hat.
I've heard that she's like famous for those.
Yeah.
And look at that. That's a work of art.
What she's really famous for is salsa. She makes the best salsa on the planet.
Well, see, I didn't have the hope for that, but
No.
I thought, one day,
If you come to California,
there'd be that.
if you come to California, I will feed you some of that salsa.
Some of that salsa.
Has to be summertime though, because that's when we get the tomatoes.
Well,
This
then
is
I don't
good.
want it when it's some horrible hothouse thing that nobody wants to eat ever.
No, you have to try it. It's the best salsa you'll ever taste.
You know, this show always ends in song. And, here is David Crosby, and he should actually be doing some little snippet of a song that he feels represents you to him in music. But I could see his face. And
What an opportunity. What an opportunity to
It
slag
really
you.
was. It's really the most perfect thing you could do for him. But you have to give me some semblance of a song to end this show.
I do?
You do.
Who are the men who really run this land? And why do they run it with such a thoughtless hand? What are their names? And on what streets do they live? I'd like to ride right over this afternoon and give them a piece of my mind about peace for mankind. Peace is not an awful lot to ask.
All right.
Come on.
You just made our entire month. Thank you.
Thank
I
you.
won't nag you for more stuff. I won't do it. But the next time, there'll be a song. There will be the Ballad of Cameron. Okay, that's it.
There'll be a next time. This is fun.
Well, hey there, GMA fans. Robin Roberts here. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Lots of great stuff here. So go on, click the subscribe button right over here to get more of awesome videos and content from GMA every day, anytime. We thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the morning on GMA.